Hello friends, welcome to the current affairs analysis for 28th of February 2020. In a significant development, India has agreed to attend Taliban peace pact signing with the United States of America. So Taliban is a militant group which was in power in Afghanistan for 5 years between 1996 and 2001. And since 2001 when US invaded Afghanistan, Taliban has been at the fringes, but it has been playing a major role as far as governance of Afghanistan is concerned. So after all these years of negotiations, finally United States of America and Taliban have agreed to sign a peace pact. India has never recognized Taliban. It has never accorded any diplomatic or official status to Taliban, but for the first time, India has agreed to send its representative to the peace pact signing process between Taliban and USA. Now, this shifts the foreign policy of government of India because it means that now the government of India recognizes that any peace process in Afghanistan cannot conclude without the inclusion of Taliban on the peace table. So that's why India is now moving to diplomatically engage with the Taliban because New Delhi has vital strategic stakes in Afghanistan. We have strategic ties with Afghanistan, we have strategic stakes in Afghanistan. Some projects like the North South Transport Corridor and some other infrastructure projects, as well as the regional and cultural ties with Afghanistan, have forced India to become a part of the process. In the Delhi government roundtable, which was held to tackle the problem of pollution in the national capital region, experts have suggested that all the states must work together to tackle the air pollution crisis. Now, this is in the backdrop of the pollution that has wrecked Delhi in the past summer due to stubble burning in the neighboring states. So, stubble burning is a major problem in the states of Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh, and they have a significant impact on the air quality of the national capital region. So, in this context, let us discuss a policy measure called the Graded Response Action Plan. So, what is Graded Response Action Plan? It came into news when the pollution had risen drastically in the wake of stubble burning in the states of Punjab and Haryana in the months of October, November last year. So, it has been in news once again. This was a plan made by the government and it was approved by the Supreme Court in 2016. So, basically, graded means that it is a step by step procedure in response to the rising air pollution in the national capital region. It is only an emergency measure and it does not include action by governments every year or throughout the year. It is only taken when the quality of air degrades drastically. So basically, particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10, when their level reaches a particular limit, only then graded response action plan has to be applied. So let us see, there are four various categories. First is when the air quality is between moderate to poor. Then when the PM 2.5 is between 61 to 120 and PM 10 is between 101 to 350. What are the steps that are taken? Heavy fines imposed for garbage burning, to close or to enforce pollution control regulations in brick kilns and industries, mechanized sweeping on roads with heavy traffic and water sprinkling, and strictly enforce the ban on firecrackers. When it goes one step higher, when the air quality reaches very poor, that is PM 2.5 is between 121 and 250 and PM 10 level reaches 351 to 430. Stop the use of diesel generator sets, enhance parking fee by 3 to 4 times so that people are discouraged from using private vehicles and they move towards public transportation such as metro. Increase bus and metro services to tackle the rush of people. Apartment owners to discourage burning fires in winter by providing electric heaters during winter. And advisories to people with respiratory and cardiac conditions to restrict outdoor movement. One notch above, on the third stage, where the air quality becomes severe, where the PM 2.5 level is above 250 and PM 10 level is above 430. Then the brick kilns are to be closed, hot mix plants and stone crushers also are to be closed because they emit a lot of air pollution. To maximize power generation from natural gas to reduce generation from coal. So thermal power plants are restricted or could be shut down as well. To encourage public transport with differential rates So the transportation in public transportation systems is subsidized. More frequent mechanized cleaning of road and sprinkling of water. At its highest level, where it is called severe or emergency, when the PM 2.5 level is over 300 and PM 10 level is over 500. Stop entry of trucks into Delhi, except for essential commodities. Stop construction work. Introduce odd even scheme for private vehicles, which has been much in news, and minimize exemptions. Task force to decide any additional steps, including shutting off schools. So this is the graded response action plan. How far has it been successful? It has created a step-by-step plan for the entire Delhi NCR region and getting on board several agencies, including the state pollution control boards, industrial area authorities, municipal corporations, regional offices of the India Meteorological Department, and others. So it has been successful in taking all these stakeholders and all these organizations on board. Secondly, it has been successful in fixing accountability and setting deadlines. For each action to be taken under a particular air quality category, executing agencies are clearly marked. So responsibility is fixed and thereby accountability can be ensured. Coordination among as many as 13 agencies from 4 states is simplified to a degree because of the clear demarcation of responsibilities. So here the 4 states that they're talking about are Haryana, Punjab, Delhi, and Uttar Pradesh. Because except Delhi, these 3 states have many districts under the National Capital Region, and Punjab is included because of the problem of stubble burning. Myanmar President Mr. U Win Mint is on a visit to India, and on his visit, 10 agreements have been signed. So these agreements are very significant. First of all, a bus service agreement has been signed. A bus service between Imphal in Manipur and Mandalay in Myanmar will be started on 7th of April. So this agreement has been signed. And for the same, an agreement called the Land Border Crossing Agreement was signed in the year 2018 between these two countries, which allows bona fide travelers with valid documents to cross the border at 2 international points of entry. First is the More Temu and second is the Zokhavathar Rih entry point. So through these 2 entry points, bona fide travelers will be able to travel to the other side of the border. Also, there have been cooperation in the health sector where India will offer medical radiation equipment Bhabatron 2 for treatment of cancer patients and strengthen cooperation in the health sector. Also, the 2 sides have agreed on government to government cooperation in petroleum, including refinery, stockpiling, blending, and retail. Another agreement has been signed on quick impact project schemes. So under this, India takes up capacity development work in the form of small projects which will yield quick beneficial results for the people of Myanmar. On governance front, India will help Myanmar with the project of e-ID cards, which are somewhat like the Aadhaar cards that are issued to the Indian residents. So on a range of issues, including medical radiation equipment, cooperation in petroleum, refinery, and the land boundary agreement. So all these agreements have been signed, which shows that India and Myanmar are close relatives, and it is also significant due to India's Act East policy, because according to this particular policy, India has to give specific importance to its eastern neighbors, and somewhere the Gujarat doctrine can be applied here, because if you notice, in most of these agreements, it is India who is a giver and it is Myanmar which is a taker. So under the Gujarat doctrine, Mr. I.K. Gujral was the Prime Minister of India, and he had advocated that as far as our neighbors are concerned, we should not expect any reciprocity in our relations. We should always be the net givers and not the net takers from the small neighboring countries. Nokia has released an annual report on internet penetration in the world, and according to this report, due to availability of low-cost data plans and due to the enhanced penetration of 4G enabled handsets in India, India's consumption of data is now way ahead of other developed countries such as UK, France, China, US, Germany, Spain, South Korea, and Japan. So India has the highest average use of data per month at 11.7 GB. Every Indian user on an average consumes 11.7 GB content per month, whereas in all other countries the per user content consumption is significantly low. India's data use has seen a compound annual growth rate of 93% between 2015 and 2019. So that means in these 4 years, the compound annual growth rate of data consumption in India has been 93%. It has been fueled by basically the 4G technology, which is pioneered by Jio, and then very low cost handsets and data. So on an average in India, the price of data is rupees 7 per GB, which is also amongst the lowest across the globe. So in India, the consumption in both 3G and 4G spectrum has seen a significant rise also with the advent of over the top platforms. Over the platforms include Netflix, Amazon Prime, Z5, Alt Balaji, etc., and some other regional content players also. So on these platforms, on an average, every Indian spends as much as 70 minutes per day. So that is a huge leap as far as tech penetration or digital or internet penetration in India is concerned. So still there is a lot of scope here because the penetration of mobile phones is just 45% in India. That means only 45% of the population is using smartphones in India. Another flaw in the report is that this report does not include internet usage on Wi-Fi, and therefore we do not have the data of Wi-Fi here. It is just the mobile broadband penetration that we are talking about. There are certain countries like Spain, South Korea, and Japan which have more than 100% level of penetration. So that shows the advanced level of internet connectivity in those countries. The center has started the process to sell its stake in Life Insurance Corporation. So approvals have been lined up. Basically, this is disinvestment where the government sells its stake in the public sector undertakings. So right now, government is holding 100% stake in LIC, and government is trying to sell 5% of its stake, after which the government will be holding 95% of the stake in Life Insurance Corporation. So this disinvestment target was announced in the Union Budget 2020-21, which was set at 2.1 lakh crore. And through LIC alone, the government is aiming to get around 90,000 crore rupees worth of revenue, because it is one of the most profit-making PSUs of the government of India. But the center has clarified that the sovereign guarantee for all the policies under the Life Insurance Corporation will continue to be provided to the people who have taken the policies. Some people criticize disinvestment as backdoor privatization, but this is not entirely true, because as per the economic principle of laissez-faire, government has no business to be in business, and it should be left to the private players, because the government, if intervenes in any sector, that tends to disrupt the forces of market economy. Therefore, it is a wrong accusation that this is backdoor privatization. It could actually bring transparency into LIC's operations, because government is selling its stake in LIC. So it will improve, it will actually include experts into the process. It will open the LIC to the experts in the private sector. So that is actually a good step for LIC. Let us see an MCQ based on this. The Life Insurance Corporation of India was established by an act of parliament, by an executive resolution, by an ordinance issued by the president, or by a constitutional amendment. So the LIC was established through a act called the Life Insurance Corporation Act of 1956. That means it is a statutory corporation. Statutory means any body which has been established by an act of parliament or state legislature. So that is a statutory corporation. So LIC has been established by an act of parliament. So the answer is this. Thank you everyone. This has been the news analysis for 28th of February 2020.